Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. It is February 13th, 2020, and we are going to have a gold price update. I've been quite busy over the last several weeks. I'm going to be increasingly busy going forward for most of the spring, so I may not be doing a video every single week. As often as I can, we will try to produce these to keep you up to date on where we are in the precious metals. So we're looking at spot gold here, a nice consolidative day today, and I think this type of price action where we see this, tight range, let's say between 1550 and 1585 or so, as has been over the last week, I think this is going to continue for 1 or 2 more weeks. I'll show you why, and then I think things are going to get a lot more exciting late this month or early March. We will look at the charts for that. Just to let you know, if you do want to hear from me every single week, you are guaranteed to get an update as long as I am able to type or speak in Precious Metals Intelligence. That goes right to your inbox, guaranteed once a week. I will produce these videos as often as I can. Let's turn and look at the price action. Now, there's a reason why we focus on the price action above everything else, and I do follow those fundamentals. We talk about them a lot, but I always say this: come back to what you ultimately, if you're really honest with yourself, what do you care about most? I would argue it's probably what the price is going to be. There may be a few of you where that's not the case, but most people, I think this is the case. So we're looking at gold from the bottom in 2018 through the present. Call this almost a 2-year chart here. Everything has a rhyme and a reason for it here. And why do we pay attention to these trends? It's because of this. Look at, for example, the downtrend break here that occurred last year. Boom. Right? Almost a $300 surge after a primary downtrend break. Turquoise downtrend breaks, broken trends. Look at this broken trend right here. Boom, almost $150 move after that. And what is happening right now? If you look at this very closely, you will see we were talking about this consolidative type price action. So it's up, down, up, down, up, down a little bit. This is coming together. You can see the shape of this forming a short-term triangle, right? The dashed lines here meaning less significant. It's a short-term triangle. We're not talking about a 3 or 4 month triangle here. So far, this is a 2-month pattern. Let's zoom it in and take a look for the ramifications. So you can see that very clearly here. Up, down, and now we're coming up again. It looks like we're going to make a hit right here. If I wanted to do short-term trading, I'm talking very short-term, let's say maybe with a week, 10 days time frame, I'd be opening up a short position right here. And I'd look for gold to come back into the lower or mid-range part of this triangle. Of course, if we break the upper range, then you would close that short. You admit the pattern has now broken. This is going to happen eventually. This pattern is going to break. All patterns break. You can see the apex of this consolidation here is no later than the middle of next month. But I will tell you from my experience, most of these patterns, when they break, they happen anywhere between 2/3 and 3/4 of the way through the entire timeline. And then they break strongly in one way or another, from this consolidative type price action to a big move. The question is, which direction is the big move going to be? Typically, these patterns will break in the direction of the former trend, typically, but not always. So we have to watch closely to see which trend line gives way first. I'll be watching this very closely over the next couple days and couple weeks. This is going to give us the setup for the next 2 to 3 months in the gold market. And how are we going to arrive at a target? We are going to take this amplitude. This is how we do these calculations. If you like to follow this thing, by the way, this applies for pretty much any market, not just gold. I happen to study primarily the precious metals and the stock market, especially the interrelation between those, and some other commodities. But precious metals, gold especially, trades very technically. Silver a little bit less so. Silver is a little bit more of the wild child. But we see the $69 amplitude here. I've calculated this already for you. The highest part of the surge down to the lowest part of the retracement. And to arrive at a calculation, we're going to either add or subtract that $69 amplitude to the apex of the triangle, which is 1,566. So bringing this back into the present here, to the intermediate term time frame, this is going to give us a target, if this breaks higher, of 1635. That's the calculation when we add that $69 onto the amplitude here in the higher direction. If, however, this lower trend line fails, we should have a strong move lower coming first, which, by the way, will break this trend line going back a year, right? This light blue trend line will be broken if we reach the lower target, which will be 1497. That will have important ramifications for the gold market. I don't think it'll mean everything is over, but it is going to take some time for gold to consolidate this year if we do get that lower resolution. And I think you want to build that. You want to build an allowance for this into your investing and into your trading plan, because this should be a significant opportunity, perhaps the final time before we get onto some higher targets if we get that lower resolution. So like they say, it's like the weather. You know, you go outside, you hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst, right, with an umbrella. I want to thank you for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We do have those defined targets coming up. And if you would like to go deeper into the study of these patterns, not just with gold, but with silver, with the US dollar, with the US stock market, with the mining sector, as well as learning about all of the mining companies that we are buying and selling here, that is all available to you in Precious Metals Intelligence. As I said, this comes out every single week, sometimes more often, sometimes flash updates middle of the week. Make sure to check that out on the homepage. I cannot fathom being a precious metals investor and not being informed about the trends that are going on across all these markets. And we know everything is so related, right? You cannot be a gold investor without following what is happening to the stock market, because obviously there's some sort of a seesaw effect here between gold and stocks, generally speaking. If you would like to speak one-on-one about the precious metals, I do independent strategy sessions with investors from across the spectrum. From those just beginning, who don't want to be taken advantage of by some of these, I'm not going to name names, but some of these unscrupulous dealerships that will try to sell you numismatic coins when really you should be buying bullion coins. I work with individuals like that. I also work with those that have multi-million-dollar portfolios, and they're looking to diversify, and the precious metals are going to be a diversified portion of their portfolios. You can find more about the consultations on the tab on the website. I do want to say thank you once again to those who are supporting this channel on Patreon. It really means a lot to me. You guys are my base. I really appreciate that support. And I always keep this in mind, you know, when I have these busy weeks like I've had the last few weeks, I keep you guys in mind, and I say, you know what, I might be having a super busy afternoon here, but I'm going to try to get this video out for you guys because I want you to see where we are in the gold market in a way that I think is the best way possible, which is the visual way. So thank you once again for being here. Consolidation going on right now. That consolidation is getting tighter and tighter. Remember these levels. If we break that declining upper trend line, gold targets 1635. That will be a new high for this move. I suspect that will be the move where the gold miners start to finally get some attention. It'll be well overdue, but I suspect that's when they will start. And remember, though, on the lower level, if we break that lower trend line, go back to that zoomed-in chart. If we break that lower trend line, gold will have an official target of 1,497. These are spot figures. Sometimes we talk about spot, sometimes we talk about futures. These are spot figures. So that would be a significantly lower target, and we would need to get ready for that, and that would happen fairly quickly over the next 1 to 3 months. Thank you for being here. I will see you soon.